It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this for August 17th, 2023. For the next hour or so, let me help you sort through the world of gaming on Game Mess Mornings Live with me, Jeff Grubb. Today we have Starfield, and Alan Wake 2 is afraid of its release date. But first, please join me in welcoming today's co-host to Game Mess Mornings. It's Jan Ochoa, everybody. Jan, how are you doing?
I'm great. I managed to slam egg breakfast this morning. I'm thinking about how actually messed up it is to give children the ability to morph into any animal. It's messed up.
Now, what, like Visor 3, was he like choosing between giving it to adults, or was it just like the first human he saw? Like, you're a child, I don't care, you're getting these powers.
It's like one of those, it's like Hal Jordan becoming the Green Lantern type of dealios. You know, like,
no, I don't.
I'm dying. Take my power and be good.
It is, you know, the reference I needed, Jan, there was Santa Claus falling off the roof in Tim Allen's The Santa Claus. Okay.
Right. Yeah, we all know that that's actually the best Green Lantern adaptation.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, totally. If I look a little bit funky to you on video, I didn't restart my computer after installing drivers, so my Elgato key light won't turn on. That's just technology. So I had to use my other light that I use for my other setup, which is kind of over there. This is moody. I like it.
It's a little moods. It's a vibe.
I got Animorphs, The Invasion, book 1, from my library, and I purchased the audiobook. So, like something to do while I'm out. Hey, listen, Jan, I'm all in.
Yeah. Do you think? Can I just read books on Twitch out loud?
Well, that is copyright infringement.
Okay, never mind.
Wait, okay.
Doesn't Bailey do that with Goosebumps?
Well, okay, listen. If you read it live and you don't like keep a VOD of it, you might be in some okay zone. I think as long as you don't read the whole book. There needs to be a copy of it. Like, that's the whole idea. Like that. So if you were to send someone a letter that had like all of the words of it in there, that's copyright infringement. But if you if you read to someone on the phone, like, and they're not, no one's recording it, I believe that there's room in the law for that to not be copyright infringement. So Twitch, it's a little bit fuzzy. Okay. Yeah.
Somehow Mike Minotti's to blame for all of this, though.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. Literally, he's the one that told me to play Animorphs. Like, absolutely, this is his fault. I've always had an interest in Animorphs, though. It's always been, whenever I hear about it, and I hear about like, oh, it's just, I said it on the Blight Club, Be Light Club yesterday, which everyone should watch. A lot of fun games we played. Yes. That people say, oh, it's just really good war fiction. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, really? Okay, I guess I should read this. So here we go. All right. You know what? Let's explain what we do here, because it's a mess. Most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings, or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. I'm trying to get my voice out in front of my mouth. I remember Alex Boniello mentioned that once. I'm like, man, he knows what he's doing, right? He's a professional. He's won a Tony.
What does that mean?
Like, instead of like keeping the voice in the back of my throat, which I think I do a lot.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to put it just right out in front, like right here. Like, hello, I just think it probably sounds better. I know it sounds more confident. All right,
use your diaphragm to push it up.
Yes, that diaphragm's just gonna fuck up these words right now. Let's go. We have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Starfield. Review codes are out there. We're playing it now, or someone on staff might be. I just put him in the Slack, but it is possible to play it now. There you go, Janet. You said something nice about me, so you get one. Review embargo is August 31st at some time. I can't remember. It's on Twitter. It's everywhere on Twitter. So if you're interested in finding out the exact time, there it is. But we'll have plenty to say about this. I think we're all gonna do we have a plan, Jan, for how we're gonna? I think we're just gonna probably have a big conversation about it on the Bombcast for sure. I think I'm gonna stream it. Like the first day it's out, like available, or whenever the streaming embargo's up and all that stuff. But beyond that, I think we'd probably just do periodic check-ins, right?
Yeah, I think this is one of those games similar to like Red Dead Redemption 2 or God of War 2018, where it's a big enough game, a big enough release where it warrants spending more time with it.
Yes.
Not that other games this year haven't warranted that. I mean, Tears of the Kingdom, we bring up every other week, honestly.
Yeah, we really do.
But, we do bounce off games to cover other games, or our attention is pulled to other spaces. But, this is such an expansive game. I feel like it'd only be right to, we'll do a big deep dive impressions discussion on the Bombcast. And, we may split that off eventually if we all wind up liking it, or a couple of us wind up liking it enough to have like maybe weekly discussions in or even outside of the Bombcast, perhaps.
Yeah, totally. I think this is one where we had planned to like spend some time with this one. So it's like, in a perfect world with enough time and enough, space in our lives, we would have done something similar for Baldur's Gate 3. But it's like we Starfield's coming right there. So it's like, okay, we're going to stick to the original plan of give a lot of attention to this, and at least as far as if that's how it works out. If we play it and everyone hates it or something, we'll change gears. But at the very least, I'm going to spend a lot of time with it up front and see how we're feeling, and we'll take it from there. Starfield is, all this stuff is happening right now. So it's like, we got a little bit of news. They talked about the game. So the developers, I think, did a Ask Me Anything or whatever. They did some sort of Q&A somewhere, and it reveals even more RPG details about its sci-fi world. This is from Ethan Gotch at Kotaku. Starfield is only a few weeks away, and Bethesda is still drip-feeding new information to players desperate to finally get their hands on the long-awaited Xbox console exclusive. Will you be able to buy apartments in the cities you travel to? Will you get to smuggle illicit items across galactic borders? Will you go to jail if you do crimes? The answer to those questions and more is yes. And Jan, like those are the kinds of things I like to hear yes to, especially smuggling and going to jail. Like, those are things I love to do in games. My favorite part of Red Dead Redemption 2, I pointed this out on Twitter, like, oh, I love going to jail in games. Like, well, then you must love Red Dead Redemption 2. I did like that part. A very, very good point, everybody. Yes. Bethesda held its a Q&A on August 16th with fans on Discord. There we go. Picking and choosing which comments to respond to as it walks a pre-release tightrope of hype in the lead up to the RPG's September 1st launch. Lead designer Emil Pagliarulo and lead quest designer Will Shin provided the answers. And although many of them are what you might expect from the studio behind The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim and Fallout 4, they also shed light on new possibilities that weren't previously confirmed. Dwellings can be acquired in all major cities, some by purchasing and others through quest. Some items will be considered contraband and need to be hidden on your ship using special modules to pass inspection. So, Han Solo Simulator, let's go. Faction quests are not mutually exclusive and can all be completed independently. There are up to 20 named characters that can join your crew, follow you around, and carry your stuff. Commit crimes and you can go to jail, pay a fine, or resist arrest. The mechs are in ruins and not usable, and a fully non-lethal playthrough probably isn't possible. When you hear that kind of stuff, Jan, like, does that like move the meter up or down or left or right for you when it comes to excitement for Starfield?
I think it moves the meter left and right in terms of not quite upping or lowering my interest, but like, okay, it's gauging how I'm going to approach playing this game. And it's already in my mind is as open of a sandbox as Tears of the Kingdom is, where it's like, okay, my approach is going to drastically differ from any of y'all.
Yes.
Right? We all,
I think so.
It's very apparent that all of us have very wildly differing play styles when it comes to approaching an open world game, especially based off of how we've handled something like Tears of the Kingdom or our own feelings towards Red Dead Redemption 2, right? You, me, Dan, don't like it. Lucy, one of her favorite games of all time. Yep. And completely warranted. None of us like Horizon. I'm kidding. But it's with this much freedom, I feel like, unfortunately, some players may suffer from choice paralysis, that they're just going to mainline whatever and miss some of the fun stuff to the side.
I think it's viable, right? That's a completely fine way to play it.
And that's fine too, yeah,
exactly. And for me, that like, even if I get into that mood, having stuff to ignore in a big game like this just makes it all feel even more special. Like I've said that before, and I still think that's true. You want to have space to take ownership of the story, and that's only possible if there's so much you just give yourself permission to say there's no way I could play it all. So what I play is just the game that I played, and it's different from anyone else's, and that's even if I'm mainlining the stuff, it's like, oh yeah, this is a living, breathing world, and I'm choosing to do this instead, and that's powerful stuff in a game like this. I think really all these possibilities, all these verbs that they bring up, like that's crucial to a game like this. But I think this game is probably going to live and die on a couple things. Like, is it actually fun to do the basics? Is it fun to do combat? Is it fun to explore? Is it fun to fly a spaceship? And then when you do get into a quest, does the possibility space remain open? Or is it always going to be shoot your laser gun? If it's always shoot your laser gun, I'm probably going to be okay to a certain extent, but I would prefer it if they try to give you the option to talk your way out of a lot of things, or give you a bunch of other options I'm not even thinking of. So it's like those key things I think are going to be where Starfield's makes or breaks its future. But at the same time, this also feels like a game that is inevitable in a lot of ways, where because it's going to be a platform, and it's going to be a platform for the community to put mods into. And the game that we're playing, the Starfield game that we're playing 5-10 years from now, it's like, well, no, of course you're not playing vanilla. No one plays vanilla anymore, just like no one plays vanilla Skyrim anymore. Right? People do, but no one I know does. So yeah, so at a certain point, it's like, it's here. Let's just get on with it and let's start that process. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see how the game will be streamlined based off of how players are not engaging with certain aspects of the game. Like, I can't imagine everyone is going to get really, really into the spaceship building because of how involved it seems, or like how crucial and not critical it also seems to be.
Yeah.
So can you just wind up downloading pre-created ships eventually? Can you do that currently? I don't believe that's an option, right?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't know. But I think, I mean, what you bring up there is a really good point. It's like, if this is a game that has so many options in here, is it going to be the kind of game where it's like, well, we're going to have a mission on the main quest that forces you to interact with all of these features at least once? Are you going to have to build your own ship at least once? I don't know if that's the right way to do things. I suppose they could streamline that process as well. But I think, to me, streamlining means if you encounter something like that, you still have the choice of being like, I never came to this game for this thing. I don't want to do it. This is supposed to be my journey. My character doesn't care about ships. He just wants to sit in the seat and have someone else fly him around. Can I still do that? Like, hopefully they've this game's been in development a long time. This is a Bethesda game. Those are the kinds of options that I want. Also, of course, Jim, it's easy right now to fall into the trap of, as people who, we do have the codes, I haven't played it yet, not really. So it's like, it's easy to get those anxieties, those expectations off from the reality of actually playing the game. And everything that we're worried about now, or everything that we're imagining now, probably isn't going to matter once you play the game and you realize what it really is. It's very difficult
100%.
to get those expectations to meet reality. So it's like, we can have these conversations and they're fine. I think the ones that really do matter are, how like robust is the mod support going to be right away? And that takes us to the next story here, where Nexus Mods launches Starfield Hub, plus a chance to win some goodies. There's a contest. Don't worry about that part. From Andrew Heaton at Destructoid. Are we sick of hearing about Starfield yet? Unlikely, seeing as it's one of the most anticipated games of the year, and the community is already gearing up to unleash some of its own custom mods for the upcoming Bethesda title. If you head over to Nexus Mods, you'll see that the site has now opened up its modding section for the game. Obviously, there's nothing there yet, save for some artwork, but it's pretty obvious, given the amount of Elder Scrolls and Fallout mods that are forever coming out, that a lot of people are going to be tweaking Starfield the picosecond it comes out. Nexus Mods is like the place to go for mods on the PC. It's like a really, obviously there's people that put their mods out on their Patreon and on their own personal GitHubs or whatever. But the place that collects most of them is Nexus Mods. The fact that they are ready and raring to go for this game, good news, not too surprising. Jan, does beg a question though. Are you the kind of person that installs mods on the first go around with a game?
No, I do kind of like playing it vanilla for at least for my initial experience with the game, just because I want to, I kind of want to play with how the developer intended, and then from there I'll break and misshape it from to my own needs. But if there's like a quality of life thing, that's different. Like, I don't know, maybe you can't turn off head bobbing, or your robot won't shut up, or maybe I need my robot to constantly quip.
Right. Yeah. You need the Bubsy verbosity slider. Yes. You want to turn it all the way up. You want to install the Dana Gould Gex pack into the game and have your robot talk like that, which someone should do, actually. The quality of life stuff, I'm right there with you, Jan. The Sky UI that came out for PC for Skyrim, like really early on, to make, because they made the game and they were thinking of console first. Like a lot of people, in fact, most people are probably going to play this game with a controller, so we're going to make it work really well with the controller. And it worked a little less well with mouse and keyboard. It still worked fine, but a little less well. So Sky UI was a great way to make that work fantastic with a mouse and keyboard. Something that's, I think it's still one of the most downloaded mods for Skyrim. So if that becomes available, or if there's a similar situation, I will definitely install something like that. But I think I'm mostly the same as you, where the first at least I want to. I inside I'm like, I know I want to play vanilla the first time. But if, let's say, people's faces are dirty, right? In like in the same way that they have been in other Bethesda games, and it's like, oh my brain, like I don't like looking at these faces. Actually, clean your fucking face. Well, I might install a mod to deal with that or something like that. So We'll see. Well, that'll be part of our ongoing talk about the game. It's like, hey, have you installed any mods? I'll be interested to see. All right, moving on from Starfield. Alan Wake 2 got spooked by October Games onslaught, and it has been delayed 10 days. This comes from Levi Winslow at Kotaku. Alan Wake 2, the highly anticipated adventure horror game sequel from Remedy Entertainment, has suffered a minor 10-day delay. In a press release, Remedy Entertainment explained that Alan Wake 2 will move from its original October 17th release date to the new October 27th one to give gamers who might feel overwhelmed by the releases coming out that month some breathing room. October is an amazing month for game launches, and we hope this date shift gives more space for everyone to enjoy their favorite games, Remedy Entertainment wrote on social media. We can't wait to show you what everyone's favorite novelist is up to in the dark place next week. Thanks for your patience. If you've been paying attention to games planned to launch in October, you'll know it'll be a hectic month. You've got Assassin's Creed Mirage on October 5th. That moved up to get out of the way of games like Alan Wake 2, but October 5th now. Detective Pikachu Returns October 6th. Forza Motorsport October 10th. Lords of the Fallen October 13th. Marvel Spider-Man 2 and Super Mario Bros. Wonder both on October 20th. And those are just the big games. There are smaller games. Sword Art Online Last Recollection October 6th. River City Rival Showdown, October 12th. The Caligula Effect 2, October 17th. Endless Dungeon, October 19th. City Skyline 2, and Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1, both October 24th. Alone in the Dark, October 25th. And Headbangers Rhythm Royale, October 31st. Fuck. God damn it. Too many games.
Like, this is, okay. This is the instance where I might be compelled to say maybe we should push Game of the Year to January. But it may it may time out where we have to do it in December.
Right, it's just the way it works. Yeah.
Holy smokes! This is did all of game development, do they have like a secret harem, and they're going like, these motherfuckers, they're talking about 2017 is one of the best games, or best year in games. Motherfuckers, you think 98 was really good? Fuck them. 2023 is gonna be the year. All right, hands in, break. Why? How?
It's you're right. I mean, listen, there's the things that make great gaming years. It's always a little different. In 98, you're going to have the introduction of some all-time important franchises, Half-Life and other stuff, or like major 3D updates like Metal Gear Solid and Ocarina of Time. This year, though, the way that this year stacks up, it is like, it's just got everything in every tier of game. Like some of the biggest games ever that are also some of the best games ever. And then just a million great games right below that. And then a million indie games. And then if Hades 2 comes out in early access, Jan, before the end of the year, what are we going to do?
Oh, those bastards over there. Giant.
I bet that comes out actually next year now, because they haven't said anything about, although, we could get to Gamescom and they announce it or something. So, Who knows?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah, what do we do is play Hades. That's right. You see that Reddit post about the guy complaining about the strike because his wife has been just playing nothing but Hades. She's a writer. He's like, every day it's just Hades and sounds of swords slashing, and I had enough of it. And it's like, oh man, that rules. Deal with it, fucking nerd.
There are Jesse in the chat is going off, and like he's right. There's small titles like Dredge, Rogue Legacy 2, Hi-Fi Rush, but then there's the in between, or maybe like a tier lower than AAA, like the Star Wars game that came out.
Yep.
Remember that, everyone?
Yeah, right.
Like Jedi Survivor is insane. That like may just get swept to the side because of everything else coming out.
Dead Space remake.
Oh shoot.
Yeah.
No one say RE4. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Or else Mike's gonna come in.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Jeez. And Redfall, everyone's favorite.
Yes, everyone's favorite Redfall. Yes, it's the exception that proves the rule. Absolutely.
Like, I know that we don't have a lot of fighting game representation on the staff anymore outside of Timur. Hey, Street Fighter 6 is another game that came out that I haven't had enough quality time with. Right. Okay. We have...
I just need to remind you all that you forgot the most important release of this year.
Yeah, sure.
Crime Boss Rock City came out on several platforms this year.
Well, we're doing that for UPF for the rest of the year, so don't worry about that. It's going to get its time. So, don't you worry about it.
Just make sure not to forget it, because I literally can't.
Yeah, of course, you've been scarred. Of course, Lexi. Yeah. We understand.
Lexi, why would you do this to me? Why would you reintroduce this?
I love Michael Madsen so much.
Jan's just gonna boot it back up. I gave him a Starfield code, and he's gonna spend all tonight just trying to see Kim Basinger's boobs again.
I know I could probably Google it, but I need to experience it myself. Yeah,
there's something about making it happen yourself. Absolutely. Alan Wake 2 moving back, delayed 10 days. Yeah, that's now. Okay, let me see. That means it's now coming October 27th, right? Okay, so still coming out in October, but it does get out of the way of some other stuff. It's coming to PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S.
Grubb,
yeah.
I had only ever played maybe 1 or 2 hours of the original Alan Wake at a friend's house, and I just never had the means to play through it all. And that was something I wanted to re-experience. I wanted to finish Alan Wake. I don't have time for that.
Yeah, I know. Here's the thing: is like I know that Lucy is super big on this one, Alan Wake 2. It's like that's another one where I'm like, when people on the staff are like, this could be my game of the year. I'm like, well, shit, I don't want to like get to game of the year and be like, well, I never played it. I don't know. And I tried Alan Wake. I bounced off of it at the time. I think Alan Wake 2 being a survival horror game makes it more compelling, and I probably will try to give this one a shot. The only way that I think it really happens, though, is if we turn it into Halloween content that week or something. Maybe we just like commit to playing through that for Halloween week. I don't know. It's tough. All right.
Maybe. Okay. All right.
Go ahead, please.
Grubb, I'm pitching this now. We're going to make a separate list outside of the Game of the Year list of like the best games we didn't play.
Oh, yeah. That should be a category for sure.
Yeah.
Yes. I would appreciate that. Would help me like catch up in January when we actually will get time to play some of those games. All right. We're going to get right back into the show after this. Okay, the Xbox 360 store is closing next year. This is from Chris Scullion at VGC. Microsoft has announced that it will be closing down the Xbox 360 store next year. In a new post on the official Xbox Wire blog, it was announced that the ability to buy new games, DLC, and other entertainment content from the Xbox 360 store will end on July 29th, 2024. This specifically refers to the ability to buy content directly through the Xbox 360 console and the ability to buy content from the Xbox 360 Marketplace site. It does not affect the ability to buy backwards compatible Xbox 360 games and DLC on the Xbox One or Xbox Series X and S stores, which will continue to be available. Jan, that sounds fine to me.
Yeah.
Like a little bit of a bummer. You like if you want to get the Xbox 360 out and you get because of nostalgia, and you're like, man, I want to play that game. Oh, I don't have it. Let's just buy it through this thing. Well, okay, you can't. That does stink. But turns out the Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, basically just running like Xbox 360s for a lot of these games, especially anything that's backward compatible. And that'll be good. Now, of course, not every game is backward compatible, and so that's gonna be frustrating. But you got some time to make. These stores just aren't going to stay open forever, and if they are, it's going to be in the form that Microsoft is doing here, where it provides some solution for backward compatibility. What does this mean to you? I think most people, right? Like, yeah, I haven't used that store in 15 years. Yeah. No, not a big surprise, right?
I mean, as long as these games are being properly preserved somehow, what is the state, Grubb, if you know, or if anyone in chat knows, what is the state of replacement disc readers, or like the lasers inside an Xbox 360 or anything that reads a disc? Say if like that goes kaput.
Because there was a lot of hacking of the consoles at that time. I think the community has found the drives that work, and I think they're still in relatively plentiful supply, but I haven't checked in a couple years, so I don't know for sure. Maybe chat does. But yeah, I would imagine that like getting those fixed is going to be fine for some time, and then eventually that'll be a problem down the line.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you have the option to, download everything just in case, and the good news is Xbox 360 emulation have started really getting there. Xbox 360 emulation is far from perfect, but it is much better than it has been, and we've seen a lot of improvement there. So hopefully, and to me, that's always the answer, Jan. Like we can like keep lobbying these companies, and I'm glad the Video Game History Foundation is out there trying to get these companies to think about this stuff in a more legally a viable way. But for me, I'm gonna be like, I don't trust it. I trust that the community trying to get the stuff emulated and preserved that way is going to be the actual answer for most of this, and that's not perfect either. Original hardware is the way to do it, but like you said, those discs will still be out there, and hopefully they can be preserved in some real ways. Now, I guess there's a lot of Xbox Live indie games too, so yeah, there's always holes in this, but yeah, still. All right, time for the Jeff Bakalar news. NHL 24's big changes include complete revamp of gameplay. This comes from Sumit Sakar at Polygon. EA Sports hockey franchise hasn't been a critical darling since the early 2010s, and the series has been stuck in something of a rut for the past few years. That may be why developer EA Vancouver is promising that some major changes are coming in NHL 24, which was revealed Wednesday with a trailer. First up is what EA described in a news release as a complete revamp of the EA Sports NHL gameplay experience, led by a feature that seeks to simulate the effects of sustained offensive zone pressure. Billed as the exhaust engine, the system will offer twofold rewards to players who can maintain possession in their opponent's defensive zone. Keep cycling the puck, and you'll eventually trigger a perk that will reduce the defending team's attributes for a limited time, and ramp up the fatigue level for its goalie, whose effectiveness will wane if you can continue to pepper them with shots. Jan, this is the kind of stuff that's like really in the weeds for a lot of people, but that sounds really nice to me as a hockey fan. I hope at the same time, we've heard of these kinds of features before, the QB vision cone or whatever, QB's vision from Madden and stuff. And it's like, actually, that's just annoying. This isn't fun. It's just like they had truck stick and they needed something else, and they came up with this QB cone. So maybe this is like something like that. But for me, when I watch hockey is at its best when a team is working in perfect harmony of keeping the puck in the offensive zone. Something that's just, if you watch enough hockey, you know that just how impossible that is. It's just like, it really does take the most skilled people in the world to make that happen. And if the hockey game is trying to mimic that and simulate that to some degree, I appreciate it, and I hope it works well. We'll see. But yeah, really, all it's gonna matter is Backy happy? Is Bakalar happy? We'll have to find out. We'll check in on him, see what he thinks in a little bit.
We all start every morning asking each other that. Is Backy happy?
Yes, and he says in chat right now, the more this game rewards real hockey, the better. Yeah, I agree. Does not seem to have been their MO for quite some time. They've been like, oh, let's have a lot of game modes and let's put a lot of effort into those different game modes, and obviously Hockey Ultimate Team and stuff like that. And there's some improvements there, improvements in quotes, like the Hockey Ultimate Team, or I think it's World of Shell. The big online mode is going to have a battle pass, so have fun with that. But they aren't announcing a ton of new modes this year. It does seem to be gameplay improvements, and I'm like, okay, that sounds promising. I miss the days of NHL from EA and NHL 2K. That's when hockey games were at their best. Master Chief is reportedly coming to Rainbow Six Siege. This comes from David Carcassole at Destructoid, I think. Xbox's, I didn't write it down. Sorry about that, David. Xbox's main mascot, Master Chief, will be coming to PlayStation through another third-party game, and this time it looks like it'll be Rainbow Six Siege. A tweet from user Clobriel on Twitter showcases the Sledge Elite skin that'll be coming to Rainbow Six Siege, which shows off Master Chief in his full military green Spartan armor suit glory. Chief's appearance in Fortnite was the last time the famed character graced PlayStation consoles on any game, though that's more fair ground considering big PlayStation characters like Kratos, Aloy, and Nathan Drake are all in Fortnite on Xbox. Of course, it might end up being that Microsoft made the deal on the situation that the Chief skin would only be accessible through PC and Xbox players, though since that hasn't been the case with Fortnite, it'll be odd for that to happen here. Jan, I'm not playing Siege anymore. I'm not playing Halo anymore. And something about this is like, I'm glad they're at least trying to keep Master Chief out there. Because what else can they do, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Put him in Smash.
Yeah, well, of course, put him in Smash. Go get Sakurai out of his coffin that he sleeps in as a vampire because he never ages. Get him, wake him up, and get him working on bringing Master Chief to Smash. I like Rainbow Six Siege, though. I should play some more Siege. It's been some time.
I'd love to check out Siege.
Yeah, we could just, again, bi curious, man. Just kind of, see how we feel about it.
There's no time. There's no time. We have all these fantastic ideas.
I know, yes, that's the thing. Oh, boy. Master Chief is, I think, still character, many people hold in, high regard. They really like him. And it's hard to feel good about him going to play Infinite for a lot of people. At this point, I'm over it. I'll go play Halo Infinite. If anyone wants to play Halo Infinite, let me know. I'll play it.
Oh, you know what? We should do that for a TNT.
We should play some TNT because that's actually a really good game for that. It would work really well. Big team battles. We can get a lot of people in there. It's on Game Pass. So yeah, we should do that. And I bet everyone playing will have a really good time because no one's ever said like, oh, I just played Halo Infinite and had a bad time. What they say is, I played Halo Infinite and the rewards weren't great, and there's nothing to buy in the store, and the DLCs and all this stuff sucks. But when you play it, it's fun. But that's like, okay, that's not the way games work these days. If you're a service game, the service part needs to be good, and Halo Infinite messed that stuff up. And so Master Chief is in this weird spot where people are like, they see it, and they get bummed out. So if you could do small things here and there to keep him relevant and keep players like, oh, you know what, I do like Master Chief, I'll go buy this skin. I think that's a smart move while they figure out the future of Halo, which I'm sure is going to be a long and lengthy and difficult process over there.
Yeah, I do not envy that process at all.
Yes,
because it is it's not even a steep hill to climb. It's just a ladder.
Yep, absolutely. All right, toxic gamers are bad for business. New study shows. This comes from Darren Bonthus at GameSpot. Most games have a more toxic side to the communities than that gather around them. A vocal minority that, according to research, does a lot of harm to the long-term success of these titles. In a new paper published by Take That via Circana executive director Matt Piscatella, the main takeaway from this report is that toxic gaming communities can negatively impact the bottom line of studios and publishers. And gaming companies should step up their moderation efforts to weed out these harmful elements. Using data and insights from Nielsen's video game tracking service, Take This found a number of interesting facts. According to the data gleaned from 2,328 polled adolescents, 60% of players reported that they had decided to not spend money in a game because of how other players treated them in that community. 70% of players reported that they have avoided playing certain games because of a community's reputation. And 60% of players reported that they had at least once quit a session or quit playing a game permanently because of harassment and hate. And Jan, it's a story as old as time, right? Like, it's just, we've known this for forever, and that's like pretty stark numbers to see, but it also feels true. You gotta imagine the sort of norm of a woman going into an online game, speaking in voice chat, and then immediately either getting harassed or even just, I mean, this is still harassment, just people showing an odd amount of interest in them because they're a lady. But more often than not, it's also like, no, we're just going to fuck with you because you're a woman. And it's, okay, that's just money lost for that game. And if that's what, if we need to put it in capitalistic terms to do something about it, so be it. But here, developers, you're losing money because of shitheads. Do something about the shitheads. And the shitheads probably actually aren't spending as much money as you would think. So you want to get that wider audience, right?
Yeah. It turns out the shitheads are very, very, very cheap and just want to keep playing the game with whatever they have and just want to make everyone's time with it very, very bad. I don't mean to speak for Bailey, but when she was very high on playing Exoprimal with a crew on UPF because she doesn't get to do that often because existing as a woman online, very rough. People would be very shitty.
Yep.
Right. And this also extends to folks just trying out a game. I know for a fact that I've had a lot of friends that have tried to get into League or Dota 2, and the barrier to entry isn't necessarily learning how to play the game, but dealing with toxic players harassing you and yelling at you because you're not playing your role right, despite you just downloading the game half an hour ago. That's why I felt like a game like Pokemon Unite felt better because of the short game times and because there's no real communication of at least verbal voice communication with your teammates other than pinging and all that jazz. Yeah, it's of course toxic gamers are bad. Not just bad for business, bad for everything else.
Yeah. And it's if it feels necessary to put it in monetary terms, but you're right. It's like you'll feel better as the developer. Like I think that's the lesson that's like they've learned over at Bungie is, we're trying to have this sort of equilibrium with their audience. And like we want to be communicative and we want to be out there, we want to be doing stuff, and we want to like just kind of keep the cheaters over there and the people that are we just want to ignore the trolls. Don't feed the trolls. And then Bungie's like, nope, that cost us a lot of money just protecting our employees. Fucking sue the trolls. Just demolish them. And it worked, and they succeeded, and they established legal precedent that will provide cover for other developers and studios and entities that want to sue people who harass them, because now those people are on the hook for paying back companies for any money they spend to protect their employees. And it's like that happened in the last year. So really, I think we should be in a new era of going beyond don't feed the trolls and fucking just banhammer, you fire your fans. Like if they're line stepping or they are clearly stepping over the line, it's like, let's do something about it because you can and you have the backing. And it's actually, in the end, the math is going to work out that your game is going to be more healthy. The community is going to be more healthy. And you're going to make more money. So there's no excuse anymore. There's zero excuse. Let's do something about it. Well, we'll see. That's going to take time to figure out what that looks like, but hopefully it comes to pass. All right. A Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge DLC lands on Switch this month with yet another new fighter. This is from Jim Norman at Nintendo Life. We have been eagerly anticipating more news on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge DLC Dimension Shell Shock since we first caught wind of it back in June. Today, we have learned that the bonus content will be skating onto Switch on 31st of August. That's not too far away. And there's yet another new fighter joining the roster. Yes, alongside the sword-wielding rabbit Usagi. Do you know how to say that? Usagi?
Usagi.
Yes, Usagi Yojimbo. We now know that former Foot Clan member Karai will also be joining the Turtles beat 'em up in just a few weeks. Is that
Usagi?
Okay, Usagi Yojimbo. That sounds right. The lightning fast ninja has made several appearances in the modern Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated series, moving from a straight-up villain to a friend and an ally of the Turtles. The Dimension Shell Shock DLC will be available for $8 when it launches. I have a little bit of the look at the game here. I'll see if I can get that up. I think they're doing something kind of fun with the coloring scheme because I think Usagi Yojimbo, isn't he like a black and white comic that has like some color splashes or something? I have never read it, so I'm not sure.
I think they're taking one of the more modern versions of the character because it does look similar, at least from the screenshot I saw of how the character is portrayed in one of the current cartoons.
She rules. Sorry, we're watching the trailer for Karai at the same time, and she is just doing some awesome dive kicks that look great.
Oh God! It's never been a better time to be a Turtles fan.
Yeah, it really seems like this is it. Okay, this is what I was thinking of. Okay, so they're doing the black and white comic style. I see. I don't. Was that in the original game? I don't know. I think that might be new.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't remember that. That looks fantastic, though. Yeah, because the Turtles are in black and white with just their masks being colored. Yeah.
You know what seems like a crime?
What's that?
I watched the TMNT documentary that came out recently. I think it's called Turtle Power. It's available on Paramount Plus. One of the creators of TMNT, they're the Ninja Turtles, Peter Laird. Grubb, how much do you think he sold it for to Viacom?
When did he sell it?
2009. Let's also keep in mind how much Marvel sold for to Disney,
right?
How much Star Wars
that was
got sold to Disney.
Well, then, okay. I mean, for me, it's going to be significantly less than Star Wars. This is just me completely in a vacuum, Jan.
Sure.
I'm going to say $250 million.
So Grubb, I agree from the estimation that TMNT is not as valuable as those previous franchises, but valuable enough, right? I'd put it maybe close to Transformers, maybe, right?
Okay, sure, yeah.
60 mil.
What?
60 million. That's insane.
That's because there's so much merchandise and over decades. And
yes.
And it's proven to be a timeless franchise in that it keeps coming back over and over again. And that is worth way more than 60 million. That's crazy.
Totally. Yeah. It's insane. It's insane.
Marino asks, was he 100% owner at that point? I don't even still. It's like if 60 million, just that's so low. Even if it's like a 25%.
I don't know how the royalty split goes. If Peter Laird still gets additional royalties afterwards, or if he just sold off all of his ownership to Viacom.
Yeah, right. Like I still get like a certain like 0.25% or something on. Yeah, who knows? Kurtman 2K7 points out that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles made overall this year $1 billion, just this year.
Jeez.
Yep. All right. Well, hey, good time to be a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, though. Lots of good stuff happening there. That movie, fantastic. The game, fantastic. And you know what? I hope they get movie DLC in Shredder's Revenge eventually. I think they could pull that off.
Oh, that'd be fun.
That'd be really fun. All right, moving on to the biggest game of the year. Hyenas PC closed beta starts at the end of August. This is from George Yang at GameSpot. Creative Assembly and Sega have revealed a new gameplay trailer for Hyenas, their hero-based multiplayer extraction shooter. The game will also have a PC closed beta on August 31st. The trailer shows its characters facing off against one another using a variety of different guns and gadgets. Each hyena has a unique weapon and ability, and players can form in groups of 3 to steal items. It even shows a team opening up a vault and finding a small statue of Sonic the Hedgehog inside, because, of course, it does. Jan, this is only a beta, but boy, it just feels like who is going to have time for this game right now?
I have no idea. Who wants to suddenly dive into the world of Hyenas, especially a closed beta, around this time of the year? Maybe earlier in the year it'd be different.
Yeah, I think early in the summer it might have made more sense. Yeah, but August,
especially if it's an open beta, but August is
going into September. Yeah, it's rough. And now Sega knows this. Sega's talked a little bit about how development on this game and kind of figuring out what Hyenas is going to be has been difficult, and they've reworked some of the business model behind it. They said, I think they know that this game doesn't really fit in naturally into any particular part of the market, like in a super obvious way. So they're going to have to get behind it and try to push it. And it's like, that might not work either. I don't know. I would love to be wrong. I don't want any game to fail. But I just have zero excitement for Hyenas, and I don't think that's my fault. I don't know what to do about that.
Yeah, like I also feel bad that I'm not excited, but I can't help my own taste.
Yeah,
Right? I don't. There's probably an appetite for a Hyenas game out there, and
Maybe.
it will find its audience, but I just don't know how long, even in a beta, that audience can be sustained.
Now, it is an extraction shooter from a big company, and we're going to get a bunch of those here pretty soon. It does feel like one of those is bound to do like the Fortnite thing. Now, I guess Battlefield had an extraction mode in it, I think. Yes, it did. And that hasn't seemed, I don't know, no one talks about that anymore. But I still think like one of these extraction shooters from a big publisher should take off. So maybe in a year, we'll have egg on our face and be like, everyone is playing Hyenas.
Yes.
We didn't know. Of course we didn't know, but man, we were really wrong.
Yeah. I say this all the time. I love to be wrong when it comes to games.
Yes.
I 100% do, you know?
Same.
Because unfortunately, I feel like sometimes we can be a little bit cynical when it comes to game releases, right? Because we just see so many of them and like the deluge of similar style games or games that are marketed kind of poorly. And I love to be wrong about them. I love to be surprised, right? Like Exoprimal, I think we're all a little bit hesitant on, but like a little bit glimmer of like, this could be fun. Comes out, it is fun. Now, has that stuck with us? Not necessarily, but at least we had that positive experience that has changed our opinions on it.
Yeah. And it's and you could see how like maybe this game strikes the right tone with like, oh yeah, we have Sonic the Hedgehog stuff that you're stealing. Like it's like, okay, that's kind of fun, and they're hitting the right tone right out of the gate, and maybe it does surprise. I would not have known, like Jesse pointed out, Sea of Thieves is kind of an extraction game as well. It's like I would not have predicted Sea of Thieves was going to be as popular as it turned out to be. And maybe Hyenas has a similar sort of arc there. We'll see. Speaking of Arc Raiders, another extraction shooter from a relatively big studio, although they've never put out a game before, but they have a pedigree. DC Universe Online is coming to PS5 and Xbox Series X. This is from Wesley Yinpool at IGN. DC Universe Online comes out on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X this holiday season. Developer Dimensional Inc. Games has announced the long-running, as in I think 12 years? I think 12 years. It feels like it's maybe even been longer than that. The long-running free-to-download MMO launches on both consoles in native form, and the development team is working on gameplay and quality of life improvements to go alongside the upgrade. Expect some of these improvements to launch over the next few months before the release on current-gen consoles, and some next year. I'm good. But I mean, I know there's a lot of people who are fans of DC Universe Online that every time it gets updated and put on a new system, they go check back in. And yes, I'm talking about Greg Miller.
Yeah. It's not even the whole hating on the DCU or the DC Cinematic Universe or whatever.
We're like past that now, right? Yeah.
We're past that. It's hey, good for those people, I guess. This came out on the PS3. What the fuck?
Yeah, in 2011. Miller is insane, says Dan Riker.
That's not true.
Yep.
Hey, folks are still playing Final Fantasy 11, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Of course they are.
That came out in 2002.
Yeah, man, you're right. And people are still playing like EverQuest 2, I think, and like Lord of the Rings Online. They're playing all of these. But Jan, we were dismissing the DC cinematic universe. How can you do that? We're in the midst of Blue Beetle Mania. Welcome, everybody. It's Blue Beetle Mania. This is a Mike Minotti bit. So if Mike, if you're, I think he's probably still asleep because he was just up late celebrating Blue Beetle Mania so late. And I mean, who can blame him? The excitement, the fervor out there is real. Jen, you never stop talking about Blue Beetle. How many times have you planned, or how many times do you plan to see it?
At least once. I actually really like the lead of Blue Beetle. He's a good kid. I like Jolo Mariduena. He's good in Cobra Kai. He's a good kid.
Also, Blue Beetle, actually pretty well revered comic like in that scene. People like Blue Beetle a lot, I think, or at least like the character.
Of course, Blue Beetle's the me thing. He's basically a Power Ranger.
Yes. But yeah, I don't. Man, Blue Beetle. This movie just feels so strange now.
Yeah.
When is it out? Like, when is it actually out?
I don't know. It's so hard. The unfortunate thing, and not to like ruin the joke and be like, oh,
No, do it.
Here's Jan being super fucking woke. The thing that's unfortunate with like the WGA and the SAG strike is it's especially unfortunate because this is one of like the first superhero movies for DC that has like strong Latino representation, and for them not to be able to properly promote this movie and pay homage to the actual character and everything, kind of sucks.
It sucks.
Pretty unfortunate.
Yep.
And also, just like the poor spot that any person that is attached to DC is incredibly unfortunate, because like, especially after the whole Flash debacle with Ezra Miller and their own problems, anything coming out of DC afterwards is unfortunate. But hey, I really like Joel Mariduena. That kid can do a spin kick.
What's he been in?
Cobra Kai, most notably.
Cobra Kai. Okay, I watched the first season of that and I liked it. I always meant to go back to it.
He plays Miguel.
Okay, all right, very very cool. All right, I mean, the mania is real and it's overtaking Giant Bomb.
Real. The mania is here.
Yes,
yeah.
Here it is. All right, let's see if I go on. No, I think that wraps it up for the news. You know what? Call of Duty's get a central hub for the franchise going forward, which I guess isn't too surprising because they were trying to do that with BattleNet, and it's like, they're not doing that anymore. So yeah,
they're not doing that anymore. Why are they doing it again?
Well, so I think their idea is we are already kind of doing it in the games themselves, but we just force you to buy the new game for $70, and then you open that up and it's a Call of Duty hub, and you can play like the whatever, you play the Warzone or whatever, or play their extraction mode, which I think people like as well, Hazard Zone, something else, that might have been the Battlefield one. And so it's like, well, they do have all these different things going on at the same time, so maybe going forward they should just have this one hub so it makes more sense, because it is a little bit confusing if you're someone that comes back to Call of Duty. I was always like, how do I play Warzone? I got to download the game that
sure.
I don't buy the game, but I'm still downloading. It was confusing. So this might clear things up a little bit. So this will start with Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone into 3, and it's going to encompass all that stuff. So there you go. All right. I got a poll from yesterday. I'll get that up in a second, though. Jan, what do we have going on in Giant Bomb for the rest of the week, including today?
For today, we have an episode of the voicemail dump truck popping off. We are also going to hopefully be recording some things after this that will get posted eventually. UPF starts early this week. I believe it is 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for folks wanting to keep an eye out on that. We may be playing Baldur's Gate 3, or maybe something else pops up. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see.
Additionally, what else we got going on? Another episode of Game Mess Mornings tomorrow. Tomorrow's Dregs Day, of course.
That's right.
An episode of Jeff's went up yesterday. We also finally put out the video of Tam and Lucy going to San Diego Comic-Con. It's good times. It's a very lengthy vlog, because I think long videos are the new meta, Grubb.
Yeah, apparently, yes. People like the long, because people like just putting stuff on in the background on YouTube, I think. And so
that's
the longer,
why
the
we're
better.
going to succeed.
That's right. I had a friend that just did a 12-hour video on old Nickelodeon cartoons on YouTube.
Oh.
He looked dead after he finished that. So, yeah. And I think it's doing very well. So,
good.
Yeah, that's YouTube these days. Yep. All right. The poll from yesterday. Let's see here. Have you ever seen Yoshi P and Dennis Dyack in the same room at the same time? 10% have. That's 1 out of 10 people have seen that. But 1 out of 10 people I don't trust. 90% said no, stunned Pikachu face. So, so they're still suspicious. I would say that the one console future baton being passed from Dennis Dyack to Yoshi P, that's all the evidence I need. Clearly the same person, and always has been.
100%.
We have a new poll going up now. Will you use mods on your first run of Starfield? Yes, so many of them. Yes, but quality of life only, and no. Those are your options. You can vote for that. Vote on that. We'll talk about it here on giantbomb.com tomorrow. Speaking of Giant Bomb, please tune back in, like he says, later for the voicemail dump truck. I'm going to be getting my TSA pre-check, so I won't be there.
Oh, shoot. I made an appointment for today also.
What? Oh, no.
Well, not during the dump truck. Not during the dump truck.
Well, that's right, because you got a different time zone going on over there. Fantastic. All right, definitely tune in for that. Looking forward to it. I'll be listening. Everyone else should as well. I tried to get. I think he's not. He's definitely asleep, so hopefully he doesn't hear this before. I sent in a voicemail to get Mike to sing "With My Baby Tonight" by Jeff Jarrett / Road Dogg. I don't think he knows the song. Jan, that's not a reason not to play it, though. That's not a reason not to play it. You definitely still play it. Okay, everybody. Jan, thank you so much for spending today talking with me about video games. I really appreciate it, man.
It's the best way to start a Thursday.
Thank you all for watching. You're the best audience in gaming. Had a lot of fun today. I'm gonna go play Starfield. Sorry about everybody. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself.